Here we are multiplying and dividing rational expressions. This is ASGNQ303. All right, let's get started. All right, so what you want to do with these is factor to begin with. So we're going to factor here. I'm going to take a 9 out. Here I'm taking a 7 out. And here I'm taking out a 12. Alright, the easiest thing to see is the x plus 3. Whenever you have a factor in a numerator, and it doesn't matter which numerator, and a factor in a denominator, if they're identical factors, and they have to be identical, it can't be like x minus 3 and x plus 3. Since it's x plus 3 up here and x plus 3 down here, they reduce. Right? Alright, now I can also reduce the numbers. 3 goes into 3 once, and 3 goes into 9 3 times. You can do the same way here. 3 goes into 3 once, and 3 goes into 12 4 times. As long as they're on opposite sides of the fraction bar, you can reduce it. Alright, and nothing happens with the 7 and x plus 6, so that's done. So it's 7 times x plus 6 over 4. Now the irony is, I understand that these are multiplying and dividing rational expressions, but leaving it in factored form is perfectly fine. Alright, that's all we're doing. Let's do number 3. Okay. Alright, what I want you to see in number 3, see here? The only thing difference between the numerator and denominator here, they have opposite signs. Here, I'm not even going to bother to factor. Okay? When the difference between two sets of polynomial expressions is the signs are different, they're going to reduce to make -1. It's like saying -6 divided by +6 is -1. Or 7 divided by -7 is -1. Okay, so whenever only thing that's different between the two polynomials is the sign, then that's enough to say that when you reduce those two, you get a -1. Over here, I need to do some work. So here I can do factor out of 4. So that's 5x plus 8. Okay. Now this is a trinomial that many students are having problems with. I'm going to do it one way here, and then I may do it another way in a different problem. Alright, so here, the way I do it, I like to guess and check. 5x and x. Alright, now guess and check does require that you have good number sense, and many of us have lost our number sense due to our reliance on a calculator. You have an opportunity to develop some number sense. How about that? Alright, there's a 5. Now here's a hint. There's a 5x plus 8 out there. So I bet you the other one, the 5x, is going to have an 8 with it. Okay, well let's try that. So I'm going to put an 8 there. And what times what gives me 32? Well, if one of the other numbers is 8, so it's 8 times 4. Okay, let me pause a minute and go back and tell you where this came from. Okay, 5x times x comes from the fact that a 5x squared. 5x times x gives me 5x squared. This is remember the FOIL method for multiplying binomials? Right? So this 5x squared is the f part. Right? So 5x times x is 5x squared. That's the f. The L, the last number, is coming from 32. 8 times 4 is 32. So what I'm doing is unfoiling this. Right? Normally, when we talk about FOIL, we're talking about taking the factored form and then multiplying it to get this form, the trinomial. So I'm giving the trinomial, I'm going backwards, right? I'm breaking up the 5x squared to 5x and x. Breaking up the 32 to 4 times 8, 8 times 4. Alright, now, there is no guarantee that that's correct. Just because it fits this thing doesn't mean it's correct. So how do you check to see if you have the correct combination, right? One could argue maybe this is the 4 and that's the 8, right? So here, 8x is the inside. Now what I'm doing is checking the OI, right? Outside is 5x times 4. 5x times 4 is 20x, and 8 times x is 8x. So 20x plus 8x makes 28x. So it worked. All right. And they both need to be positive. Okay, so now these two reduce, 5x plus 8 and 5x plus 8. And remember, whenever it's a factor, it has to be identical. So the x plus 4 and the 4 do not cancel. Okay, so only thing left is multiplying by -1. So final answer, -4 over x plus 4. Okay. Alright, should I do another one of these? Let's not. Alright, let's do a division problem. Alright, let's do number 17. Okay, this is number 17. Alright, division. The only thing difference between division and multiplication is one step. There's only one step difference between the two. What you're going to do, let's do this first. I'm going to factor out a common factor, right? A 2 goes into all that. Alright, so 2. So that's going to be 3r squared minus 4r minus 32. And let's do this part. What's that? 6 goes into both of those? I think so. Anything higher? 9? No. 8? No. Alright, so 6. So that's going to be 3r plus 8. Okay, now, what I'm going to do here now, I need to flip this. Change the division to multiplication and take the reciprocal of that. So I'm also going to factor out the 6 at the same time. But notice where I'm putting it. I'm putting it in the numerator, not in the denominator. Okay, and then let's factor that out. I'm going to take a 20 out. And that's going to give me 4 minus r. Alright. Now, so that means I need to factor this out. Okay, the 6's. Just go ahead and cancel the 6's. And the 2 goes away, leaving me a 10. Alright. So I don't need to copy those numbers anymore. Just a 10. Alright, now let's factor that out. And you should be able to guess. Look, there's a 3r plus 8 in the denominator. I bet that 3r has a plus 8 on it. Okay. Alright, well, let's verify. We'll put an 8 there. And what times what gives me 32? 8 times 4. Now, here's a quandary. This has a negative sign. So that means one of these have to be negative and the other one has to be positive. In order to get a negative 32, it takes a negative 8 times a positive 4 or a positive 8 times a negative 4. Here's how I decide. Which is the bigger combination, the outside or the inside? Well, the outside is 12, the inside is 8. 12, so I want the 12 to be negative. Why do I want the 12 to be negative? Because I want the bigger combination to have the same sign as the middle. Well, let me explain why in a second. So I make that a negative, make that a plus. Let's see what happens. So the outside is negative 12, the inside is positive 8. Negative 12 plus 8 is negative 4, and that's what I want. All right, recap. How did I get 3r and r here? Well, that's the factors of 3r squared. 3r times r is 3r squared. What are the factors of 32? Positive 8 and negative 4. That's how I chose those numbers. Okay, and then I had to verify that that was the correct combination by checking the outside and the inside. Outside was negative 12, inside was 8. That gave me the negative 4. All right. And there are other possibilities. It could have been 2 and 16 or 1 and 32. I was just guessing that it's going to be 8 because of that 3r plus 8. Okay. All right. And it turns out I'm right. Okay. So 3r plus 8 cancels. And I didn't write the other one. Sorry. So that's r plus 2 over 10. And nothing cancels here. So final answer. Okay. And this is the irony again. It is multiplication, but I'm not going to ask you to multiply. Leave it in factored form. And that's the answer. And I'm done. Alright, this is number 17. I know it looks different because, well, I did it wrong the first time. I left something off. I forgot there was something else in the problem. Alright, so I'm just doing it again. Anyways, so here we go. Alright, I am going to factor out a 2. Okay, then I check. Okay, 3 is only 1 times 3, and 3 doesn't go into 4 and 32, so I factored out the correct number. Yeah, I do that. Check to see if that was the largest factor, and it was. Alright, what's common between 18 and 48? 2 goes into both, and 3 goes into both, so 6 must go into both. And that's what? 3r plus 8. Okay, now this is a division problem. So that means I'm going to flip the second one and multiply. I'm going to go ahead and factor at the same time. So 6 times r plus 2. And did I copy that right? I did not. It's a 20, not a 2. So take out a 20. So that's 4 minus r. All right, continuing to factor. Well, actually, let's reduce them first. So the 6's cancel here. And the 2's goes into 20 10 times. All right, so now I don't have to deal with the numbers over here, just that 10 is left over. Let's go ahead and factor this out. And the technique I'm using is guess and check. Well, 3r squared, there's only one way to split up 3r squared, 3r and r. Okay, there's a bunch of ways to split up negative 32, but I'm guessing there's going to be an 8 involved because of the 8 down there. All right, so I'm going to put an 8 here. Now, I am only guessing. I am not claiming that that's going to work. We need to check to see if it'll work. Now, to get a negative 32, they're going to have to be different signs. Positive 8 and then negative 4 will give me positive 8 times negative 4 will give me negative 32. All right, let's see if that actually works. Okay, remember how I chose these numbers. 3r times r comes from 3r squared. Negative 32, positive 8 times negative 4 produces negative 32. But I still have to make sure the middle number comes out, right? Remember the FOIL? So the 3r and r is the f, the first part, and 8 and negative 4 produce negative 32. That's the L. So I just double check those. Those work, right? 3r times r gives me 3r squared. That's the F. 8 times negative 4 gives me negative 32. That's the L. Now, I'm going to check the OI. OI gives me the middle term. Okay? Outside is negative 12. That's right here. So it's negative 12r. The inside is 8r. What is negative 12r plus 8r? It's negative 4r. So that's my OI. And it's correct. All right. Copying the denominator. All right. And I guess I'm going to copy it here. Plus 2 over 10 times 4 minus r. Alright, so the r, 3r plus 8 cancels. Now look at here. You got r minus 4 and you got 4 minus r. Okay, I think I mentioned earlier that if the only thing different is the sign, and that's what it is, right? R is positive here, but r is negative here. 4 is negative here, but 4 is positive here. So the only thing different is the sign. So when I can cancel those, but it actually leaves a negative 1. And it doesn't matter where you put it, right? Negative 1 could go in the denominator or the numerator. And I just said that backwards. All right. All right. So I'm left with a negative 1 in here. And r plus 2 over 10. You can put that negative 1 anywhere you want to. You can do like negative r minus 2 over 10. Or you could just do negative in front of r plus 2 over 10. Or you can put in a denominator, r plus 2, negative 10. Which one's the best one? It doesn't really matter. It could be anywhere. I personally like this one, but that's not a big deal. All right, that's it.